This is Gothica Eterna. Hello and welcome back to Gothica Eterna. I finally have a laptop with a webcam on it, so I don't have to use the camera on my phone, which is great. So my shop is up and running. I tried to do a video a couple weeks ago about it and got interrupted. So I have some scrying bowls on there, some incense, some hand-painted candle holders, reversible altar tiles, which are really cool. On one side is painted in one color with one symbol, and the other side is painted in a different color with a different symbol, so you can reverse it to see whatever color and symbol you want. The ones I currently have are gold with a pentacle on one side and silver with the triple moon goddess symbol on the other, but I do custom orders. I recently did a custom order for someone that was purple on both sides with the symbols, and if you send me a picture of the symbol that you want, I can do my best to paint it if I can. So check it out. I'll post a link to the shop in the description, and there's also a little button you can click on the channel page for my channel to see the shop. So check it out and see what you like. I will be having more items up soon, as well as be having a sale for Mabon, which is approaching next month. So, on that note, that's what I'm going to discuss today. I'm going to discuss the Wiccan Sabbat of Mabon. So, excuse me because I will be looking at my phone a little bit. My notes are in my phone because my Book of Shadows doesn't have my information on the Sabbats yet. So, I'm currently putting rituals and other information into my Book of Shadows. I'm kind of backed up on stuff that I haven't put in yet, so I'll be looking at my notes on my phone. So for those of you who may be asking, I'm going to talk about what Mabon is. Mabon is the second harvest festival. The first one is Lammas, which we had in August, and the third is Samhain, or Samhain as some people like to say it, or Samhain, also known by modern day society as Halloween, All Hallows Eve, all those good names. Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Samhain, that's the third harvest festival. We're talking about the second one, Mabon. It is the autumn equinox. It is the day where we officially consider ourselves to be in autumn and no longer summer. It is one of two nights of the year where night and day are equal, so it's a good day for balance, to find your balance, to celebrate the balance of light and dark. And it's also basically the Wiccan Thanksgiving. We give thanks for the harvest, and sadly in today's culture, the harvest is not as noticed as it used to be, because we live in a very industrial culture, in a very modernized culture, where we don't go out into the backyard and harvest our crops. We don't. Most people, not saying all, there are probably some of you who do, but most people don't have acres of farmland where they go out and they harvest their crops every autumn. So for most of us, we only notice it by the falling of leaves. If you even live in an area where the leaves fall, like I used to live in an area where it didn't. Now I'm not sure because I just moved, so we'll see what my autumn looks like. But most of the time we only notice it by the changing of the leaves, or maybe your farmer's market, if you go to the farmer's market, will have some more crops from the harvest, or your grocery store might be selling more seasonal produce like pumpkins and squash and all that good stuff. But for the most part, it's not something that we really celebrate in our modern culture. But really it should, because whether we see it or not, there's crops being harvested. There's a bounty of fields that is being reaped. So that's what we focus on Mabon. It is a time to give thanks. It is a time to just enjoy the beautiful season and celebrate the harvest. So Next, we're going to talk about a little bit more about celebrating Mabon. Alright, so I'm back with coffee. I skipped my morning coffee, so I'm gonna drink my coffee while I discuss the next topic in this video about Mabon, and that's getting in the spirit of Mabon. 1 second. Sweetie, come here. Come here. You want to say hi to my familiar? I know, baby. This is my familiar Tigger. He decided to open the door and let himself in. Yes, you did. I know. I'm making a video. Oh, don't step on that. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to have this little tail in my face while I do this video. So, we're going to talk about getting in the spirit of Mabon, which my familiar evidently doesn't want me to talk about. So, 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to close the door because I have new housemates and I wanted to keep the noise level down a little bit. And then I had to let my familiar out again because he was meowing his head off and it was making it very hard to make a video. I know he has food, I know he has water, I just cleaned his litter box, so there's a lot of weird energy in the house with new people moving in from one side of the duplex to this side, and just the spirit world in general is kind of a weird place right now. So I'll deal with him in that energy later, but let's get back to talking about getting into the spirit of Mabon. One of the best ways I find to get into the spirit is to decorate. But then again, I'm a very homey, kitchen-y witch, so my home, I prefer for it to reflect the spiritual and reflect the change of seasons and the Sabbats. Currently can't really do that too well, but at some point in the future I'm hoping to have my own space where I can just decorate to my heart's content. I grew up with a lot of decorations for the change of season, which is strange because I grew up in a very Christian family, but there was still autumn decorations once autumn came around, so that was great. I'm planning on buying some decorations this year. I get paid in a week, so one good way is to decorate. Decorate your house with pumpkins, gourds, cornucopias, the horn of plenty. It's like a little horn with little bits of harvested crops inside, usually fake. You don't typically have a huge horn with real fruits and vegetables, but if you do, great. Maybe I'll do that someday. But one cool thing about decorating for Mabon is you're decorating for autumn, which means that most of those decorations you can just keep up for Samhain, for Halloween, and just add a little more spooky decorations to make it more Halloweenish. So buy fall wreaths. I want to get one for our bedroom door or maybe the front door of the house, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, buy wreaths, buy scarecrow, like I said, pumpkins, gourds. Apples are good. Apples are really good, and apples can stay as part of your decor through Samhain, because Samhain, I'll have a video once we get closer to that. There's apples involved in that, and apples are very protective. Scarecrows are supposed to chase away evil spirits. So if you want to invite evil spirits in your home, don't get a scarecrow. But scarecrows were supposed to scare off the crows. Exactly. It's a scarecrow. They are also supposedly going to scare off evil spirits. So if you want to do that, get a scarecrow. I'm not a fan of how they look in my front yard, so I'm not going to. But yeah, get in the spirit by lighting candles that are scented for autumn. I think it's Glade has a line out at Walmart where they have pumpkin, apple cider, and then 2 other ones. I got the apple cider one, and I'm going to start lighting it once it gets closer to Mabon in autumn to give the house that autumn scent. Excuse me. So yeah, decoration. You would be amazed how much decorating can do to get you in the spirit of a holiday. For those of you who celebrate Christmas or Yule and you decorate your house for Yule or Christmas, you know that having those decorations and that scent of like the baking cookies and all of that just gets you so much in the spirit of the season. So get in the spirit of the season by decorating. Maybe have a party with your friends where you decorate ornaments to hang around your house for autumn and Mabon, and make it into a celebration, because that's what this is. This is the celebration of the harvest. Alright, so setting up your Mabon altar. In this section, I'm going to cover an array of things that you can put on your altar, and I'll also cover some things that I could have mentioned in the Getting in the Spirit of Mabon with Decorating section. So anything I mentioned that you can put on your altar, you can use to decorate your home too. So, colors. Autumn colors. Get an altar cloth that's red. I will be having those on my shop if you guys want to look. I'll have red velvety altar cloths with trim on them, so check that out if you want. Red, gold, other autumn shades are perfect. On your altar, you can decorate it with corn, wheat, squash, root vegetables, symbols of agriculture like baskets, sickles, that kind of thing. Wine, vines, and grapes. Don't just leave a glass of wine sitting out for a month. That's probably not the best thing, but you can set a glass of wine out there for a little bit if you want to decorate your altar. Pomegranates, apples, cider, apple juice, God's eyes. I remember making those when I was growing up. I'll probably make a few this year. You take popsicle sticks and you wrap them around the popsicle sticks to make a design. Look that up on Google. Those are really cool and really good for this season, and they're also said to be protective. So who doesn't love having protective symbols around them? I know I do. So that works. Corn dolls. If you can make one, great. I want to make one soon, and I would love to make them with my kids for Mabon when I someday have kids. So yeah, corn dolls. They work great. Seeds, seed pods, and nuts in their shell. They all symbolize life, planting of life, because what do the plants come from? They come from the seeds and the nuts. So use those to symbolize it. Statues of deities symbolizing the changing seasons. You can also create a food altar. Basically an altar of food, offering to the gods from your bounty. Yeah. Alright, so candles, incense, and crystals that are associated with Mabon. As far as candles, continue to think of those autumny colors. Brown, gold, orange, a deep red. Those will all give that autumn type energy. Include maybe white as just a general candle, or black for protection. Those are always good defaults, but if you can't get your hands on some brown, orange, gold, or red candles, those will really set off your altar, make it look beautiful, and also be in the spirit of the season. As far as incense, good incense for Mabon includes pine, sage, sweetgrass, or myrrh. You can also use marigold or passion flower or fern. And frankincense and myrrh together are also really good. So those are good incenses to keep in mind and burn leading up to Mabon and even during your Mabon ritual. Magical stones for Mabon include clear quartz, which is pretty general. It applies to pretty much everything. Amber, peridot, diamond, gold, citrine, yellow topaz, cat's eye, and aventurine. So those are good stones to use, decorate your altar with if you have them. They will lend great energy to your space and continue to give you that autumn harvest festival energy in your daily life. So now we get to the part of the video where I will talk about your actual Mabon ritual. Depending on whether you are part of a coven or a solitary practitioner, or whether you practice with a close group of friends or family, that will determine what kind of ritual you perform. It also depends on your tradition. If you are eclectic, feel free to grab from bits of tradition. If you have a set tradition, look and see if your tradition has Mabon rituals. Most, if not all, traditions will. So, if you're solitary, you can basically do your ritual however you want. If you're in a coven, your coven will most likely already have a ritual planned for that day, and you will take part in it. If you work with a close group of family and friends, then get together with them and plan out your ritual. Decide if you want to write your own ritual as a group, or if you want to use a ritual that you found online or in a book. For me, I'm mostly solitary at the moment. I'm maybe asking my mother if she wants to join me in my Mabon celebrations, but I was taught the craft by my mentor. She was a family tradition witch, and she had no children before she died, so she passed her tradition on to me. So I consider myself to be a family tradition witch. I just don't follow my own family tradition. I follow another. I was basically adopted into the family tradition. Let's put it that way. So for my personal Mabon ritual, I'm going to be looking through the family books and picking a ritual from the family traditions to do. I may have to adapt them if they're for families to make it more solitary. But you can adapt any ritual you want if you're solitary. If it says we, change it to I. Basically, that's how I do it. So rituals for Mabon can focus on different things. They may focus on the balance of light and dark, or they may focus on giving thanks for the harvest, the change of seasons. So whatever you connect with more, perform that ritual. If you connect more with a ritual celebrating the balance versus a ritual of Thanksgiving, do the ritual celebrating the balance of light and dark. It's up to you. It's your personal practice, unless you're doing it in a group, and then you all have to decide on what you want to celebrate. If you want to celebrate all three in one ritual, go ahead and do it. For rituals, I find that it's really cool to have like a big feast afterwards if it's a Sabbat and you're with multiple people. I may or may not be doing it completely by myself, but I am still going to make a great meal. I'm planning on making homemade apple cider, which you can find recipes for online. I'm also planning on having really good bread and a hearty soup, maybe a salad, some vegetables, like a Thanksgiving meal. Especially because hopefully around here it'll be cool on Mabon, so soup won't burn us up. But yeah, make it something that you will enjoy. There's no point in celebrating a holiday if you're not going to have fun about it. Yes, there's that spiritual and religious aspect to it, but make it fun. Even if you're by yourself, make yourself an amazing meal. Do something from scratch. Look online, there's tons of crafts you can do for Mabon. If you're celebrating with others, have a craft day before you do the ritual. If you're doing it with other people, make it a potluck. Have everybody bring a different dish. Make it something special. And that's really all there is to it. Make it something special that still honors the meaning of Mabon. Like, don't perform a ritual for spring, because it's not spring, it's autumn. But make it something that you enjoy and that resonates with you and makes you feel connected. Because that's what it's about. It doesn't matter if you practice in a coven or with a study circle or solitary. What really matters is, do you feel connected? Right now I'm solitary, but I still feel connected. I run a group on Kick for Wiccans and witches. It's if you want to look it up, and like if you're watching this video, you have Kick and you want to join the group, it's #eclecticwitches. So I made it more open for any tradition. So I'm mostly solitary, like I said, but I still have some connections with other Wiccans and witches, and even if you don't talk to other Wiccans and witches, can you feel that connection? Can you feel the spiritual energy in the air on days of power and on Sabbats? Can you sense the energy of other people pretty close to, if not just like you, celebrating the same thing? Because even if you celebrate alone, chances are there is at least one other person in this world doing a ritual at the same time as you. So you're not alone. You might be solitary, but we're never alone. There's always that connection, even if we can't see it. If you stop and you breathe, just close your eyes and listen to the energy around you, there's a connection. Maybe I'm sounding crazy to you guys, but that's how I've always seen it. I started at a very young age and I was alone for a very long time in my beliefs. But I could always just get this sense whenever I did anything to honor a Sabbat or an Esbat. I could just sense the connection between myself and other people like me. Whenever I looked at the full moon, I would just stop and think, there's another Wiccan somewhere in this world who is staring at that full moon. And it made me feel not alone. So if you feel alone in your practice, the best thing you can do is celebrate the Sabbats, celebrate the Esbats, because that's how we connect. We connect through our energy, through our spirituality, and just through the honoring of a common day. So after recording that last section and the sections that follow, I thought of some things that I should have mentioned in the last section that I want to mention now. And that would be some ideas for personalizing your ritual. If you're going to write your own Mabon ritual, or you want to add to an existing ritual, some ideas for things that you can do to celebrate would include reflecting on the year so far, because Mabon is a time of reflection. You reflect on the blessings that have come your way, as well as maybe the bad times that you've had, because in all bad, there's good. You learn from the trials that you go through, and through those trials you grow. So a good idea would be to reflect on the year and write down the blessings that you're thankful for and the trials that you're thankful for because they helped you grow. If you're celebrating with a group, you can share your blessings and trials, the things you're thankful for, out loud, much like some families have a tradition of going around the table at Thanksgiving and saying one thing they're thankful for. Or if you're solitary or even with your group, you can write it down on a paper and fold the paper up and throw it in your offering bowl. On the top of an offering bowl, it's a good idea to, when you have a Sabbat and have a feast, if you have a lot of food after your Sabbat, to offer a little bit of the meal in your offering bowl to the Lord and Lady, your matron goddess and patron god, whatever particular deities you honor. It's always a good idea to offer a little bit of that feast to them. A prayer I learned a long time ago that I'll share with you for food offering to the gods is, "This meal is the work of many hands, and we offer you a share. O great gods, accept this gift, and upon our hearth leave your blessings." That's a prayer that I'm going to be teaching my kids and having them put a little bit of food from our meal into the offering bowl and say that prayer. So I wanted to share that with you guys. If you want to use that prayer when you offer food offerings, that's totally fine by me. I learned that one from my mentor, and I've used it multiple times. So other good ideas are to start cleaning house a little bit. Get the energy of the previous seasons, any negative energy that's come with it out. Use a besom if you have one. It's the witch's broomstick, which, I'll say this right now, most, if not all traditions, the besom does not actually physically sweep the ground. It is more of a spiritual action than a physical one, It's sweeping that spiritual energy out to just refresh and start over and get ready for new energy to come in. No one likes having that bad energy floating around them and making them feel all weird. My familiar and I are dealing with that right now, and I can assure you it's getting out of here within the next 24 hours. I already cleaned up our room. It looks amazing. I turned my computer and show you, but my battery is horrible. It will die if it unplugs. So yeah, I cleaned, and I'll do a spiritual cleansing just to get the negative energy out. But that's one good thing to do at this time, especially with Samhain approaching after Mabon. You want to make sure that the energy in your house is stable and clear for the night of Samhain. So Mabon's a good time to do it, and you have a month before Samhain comes along. Alright, so as we've already discussed, Mabon is a time for giving thanks. So what are some good ways to do that? For me, I think some good ways to give thanks at Mabon are much like how people give back during Thanksgiving. Find a food drive. Donate canned foods that you don't need, that you've had sitting in your cabinet for a few months and haven't opened, and they're still a year away from their expiration date. There's people out there who need those things. If you have plenty, give back to society. Give to those who are struggling. Give to that mother who wants some canned goods for her Thanksgiving but doesn't have the money to feed her children, or to plan something amazing for Thanksgiving, which will be in a few months after Mabon. So that's one good way. Also, as the season turns, we start getting more clothes, right? Once summer is over and it starts to get rainy, you break out the long sleeves, you go buy yourself a jacket. Get rid of some of your old clothes. Take your old summer clothes, or maybe old clothes from last autumn that don't fit you anymore. Take them down to Goodwill and donate them. Give back to society. Show thanks for what you have by giving to those who may not have. So I think that concludes my video on Mabon. I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. If I think of something later, I'll probably go back and make another video, Mabon Part 2 video. So I hope you guys found this informative, and I look forward to hearing from you guys about how you're celebrating Mabon. And if you have any questions, if there's anything that was unclear or any more information that you'd like to know about Mabon, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I check to see if I have comments regularly. So go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll reply as soon as I get it. Have a great day. Have a great autumn season. Send pictures of your Mabon altar in the comment section if you want. I'd love to see how you guys celebrate Mabon and decorate for the season. Have a great Mabon next month, and blessed be.